Hello, listeners. Welcome to Unlocking Your Truth, a radio show and podcast. And we broadcast from CIVL, from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation, on 101.7 FM across the valley.
Yay! Yay to us!
So we are a radio show and we broadcast terrestrially, but you can also find us on all the major podcasting platforms. And if you want to be live in our chat room, then it's a good idea to join the Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group and make sure Corey knows that that's why you're wanting to join it.
Yes.
And you can also watch the live stream on YouTube, and you can catch all the past episodes on the podcasting platforms and my website, drlesleyphillips.com. So every week we've got a different topic under the umbrella of metaphysics and spirituality. And today, and at the moment, we're doing a second series using my book, Intuition and Chakras, as inspiration. We did a series in 2021 when the book was published, and we're also taking it from a different angle and a different perspective, but we're going through the ideas in the book again. So last week, we talked about the first chakra and related it to psychic abilities and talked about all sorts of things about that. This week, and I am just using my inspiration on the moment, so I'm not knowing which chakra I'm going to focus on until I sit down in the chair, but I've decided that this week we are going to talk about the crown chakra. So we've gone from one end to the other.
Better.
So, yes, the crown chakra is the energy center on the top of your head.
I knew that.
In the crown area, and it is a gateway to higher consciousness. So we talked about the first chakra last week, and we said, well, in a way, it's the lower vibration of the 7 chakras because it relates to, it connects you into physical reality and earth plane reality. So the crown chakra is the highest vibration of the 7 chakras, and it connects you to higher consciousness. So the idea is that you can seat your consciousness in your crown chakra, and by doing that, you can get to know yourself as spirit. You can get to experience yourself as you are beyond the limits of the body. So start to experience yourself as consciousness. And it is also the energy center where we are bringing in our spiritual energies. So where we can flow cosmic energies through the crown chakra, we channel ourselves into our physical body through the crown chakra. So you might not realize it, but I just told you, how does the crown chakra relate to your psychic abilities? Because the 2 of the main psychic abilities that this energy center channels, one is called knowingness or claircognizance, and it's your ability to know yourself as spirit, and it's your ability to simply know. So I think it's a fairly common experience for people to have a sense of knowing where that knowing is not coming through the intellect. So it's the kind of example where you know something, you just profoundly, intuitively know it. You don't know why you know it. You don't know how you know it. You just know. That is your claircognizance, your knowingness, a sense of knowing. And the other ability is transmediumship. So transmediumship is different than mediumship. I'll explain the difference in a minute. Transmediumship is the ability to channel spirit. We are all transmediums because we are all, each one of us, we're spirit, we're consciousness, but we've created our body as a vehicle, and that body is meant to be animated with our energy. And so we channel our energy through our crown chakra into our physical system. Now, while it's a good idea for you to be channeling your energy, because your body was created to house you, it's possible for you to channel other energies. So transmediumship can be used not only to channel you and your energy, but also to channel the energy of other beings. So channeling is a word that we use for that. Sometimes we might even use the word possession. So channeling tends to be used when it's a benevolent being that's bringing wonderful information through. Possession tends to be used when it's a non-benevolent being wreaking havoc with the life of the person that's
Hey, we run into a few of those once in a while, don't we, Dr. Lesley?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Gosh, give me a moment. I lost my thread now. What was I going to say?
I don't know.
I was talking about crown chakra and
the difference between mediumship and
I was but I also was going to say a more in between example of channeling, because I bet you've all had the experience where you say something or you do something and you go, wow, I said that just like my mother, or I did that just like my father. And so it can be because you are channeling in part your father or mother's energy. And we all do that. It's really common, especially in a family situation, that people are, blending their energies and merging their energies and such.
I hate that when that happens. Well, I won't say I hate it. It just it throws me for a loop sometimes. I sit there and go, wow, because it's very evident that it happens. Like it sort of slaps you in the face. It's like looking in a past life mirror almost. By the way, Carol says, I'm so interested you picked crown chakra today. When I did my blueprint with you, you were taken to read from my crown chakra first. What a coincidence.
Oh. Yes, that's right, because I normally do the psychic ability blueprint from the first chakra.
Yeah, from the root chakra.
Yes, that's true. Interesting. So I picked the crown chakra because, to be honest, today has been a bit of a funky day. And I've been dealing with crown chakra type issues all day long. So if I seem a bit slow and discombobulated, it's because I'm still dealing with clearing energy from my crown chakra. So I started the morning with somebody who was channeling energies that weren't theirs. And sometimes, in a reading, when somebody's energy is not under control, it will bleed through to the person doing the reading. And then I had another session where the person was channeling a being. And so my day went on. So I've even got more discombobulated because my computer's now not even showing Zoom properly. Is that you, Corey?
That's me.
Doing that.
I want to take a picture of the crown chakra and put it on.
I see.
Trying this new.
So the other thing I was going to say is that so we can be channeling other beings, but if you're not in control of your trance mediumship, you can also be manipulating and affecting other beings. So there's plenty of examples of that in our history. If you take somebody like Hitler or Jim Jones, the Jonestown Massacre, you know, those gurus that have those followers that do unbelievable things because their guru asks them to. It's often a case of someone who is using their trance mediumship in a unfortunate way, in a controlling way. So it's very important for our developing our psychic abilities that we learn to be in charge of our crown chakra. And this one is, you know, I was talking last week about how important it is for you to be grounded. Well, at the other end of things, you want to be aware of how open your crown chakra is. So people are often under the impression that to develop my psychic abilities, I must open my chakras. And it's really not about that. It's about what experience of consciousness do I want? What experience of consciousness do I get if I open the chakra super wide, or if I close the chakra down somewhat? So the more open your crown chakra is, the more you may lose touch with reality. Because remember, I said it is a gateway to higher consciousness. It is a way for you to connect with the great all that is. And the great all that is not just enormous, it's infinite. So there are infinite planes of reality, infinite experiences and possibilities, and some of which might be very far from what appears the regular experience when you're in a body on planet Earth. So open your crown chakra and be ungrounded, then you will be out there. You will be out there, potentially out there in La La Land. So it's a good idea to have an awareness of your crown chakra and how open is my crown chakra. Because you actually don't really need it very wide open to just connect with yourself and God. And from my perspective, the name of the game here on planet Earth is for you to channel yourself, to bring your vibration into this planetary reality. And that is how you then start to enlighten yourself and change the world. So I have a trance mediumship course. People get very excited about it. And I think it's because they believe that I'm going to be teaching them mediumship and how to communicate with people who are on the other side. And that is part of it, but it's certainly not all of it. And so I want to just give a clear definition of trance mediumship versus mediumship. So a medium, someone who's communicating with people who have passed away, can be using many different psychic abilities. They could be using their clairvoyance to see the deceased person, to read pictures and get information that way. They could be using their clairaudience and hearing messages. They could be using their knowingness and knowing messages, but they're not necessarily channeling the energy of the deceased person. So, but sometimes you will see a medium who will say, oh, I've got heart palpitations. Can anyone in the audience connect with the heart palpitations, you know? And people will go, oh yeah, my dad passed away from a heart attack. Well, that medium is channeling the energy of the deceased person and the circumstances of the deceased person's death through their system. But you don't need to do that to get the information. Another medium could communicate with the same deceased person and not take on any of that person's energy at all. Just be able to read the energy from a distance. And I would say the safer practice is to read the energy from a distance as opposed to channel it through your system, because that foreign energy is not a vibration that is resonating with your true vibration, which is what your body feels best. When it's you in your space, then you feel good. And when it's an energy that is out of alignment with you, then you don't feel so good. So it's really important for people who work that way to clean out their system. So I said the theme is the crown chakra. So let's go on a little bit of a journey like we did last week with the first chakra. Another psychic ability besides the two that I've mentioned that the crown chakra is involved in is precognition. Precognition is the ability to, well, we might say predict the future. I prefer to say tap into future potentials. So it is a way of reading the quantum field or the probability matrix. So we exist in the present. And from our perspective, the future isn't yet formed. It exists as a probability field. So in any point of time, you can look into that probability field and based on the present time circumstances, make a prediction that the most likely future scenario is X or Y or Z. So you use a combination of your crown chakra and your sixth chakra to precognize. We're going to take a break and we will be back after these messages.
Yep.
Welcome back, listeners. We're doing our funky 2022 dip into my intuition and chakras. And tonight we're doing a deep dive, thank you. We're doing a little bit of a journey around the crown chakra, the seventh chakra. And we've talked about transmediumship, we've talked about knowingness or claircognizance, we've talked about precognition. There's also a psychic ability called psychometry, where you are now combining the sixth and seventh chakras with the use of your hand chakras to feel into and read the energy of objects. So, for example, if somebody has a piece of jewelry, for example, I've got in my hand a ring. This ring was acquired in Korea by my grandfather and smuggled in his sock and given to my mother. So it
was just in his sock.
Yeah. So, you know, it has a story. Different people have worn it over the years. It's acquired the energy potentially of the different people. And one idea with psychometry is that the psychic can feel the energy of that object and read the energy stored in the object. So it may have picked up pictures and information and energy signatures from the people who have owned it and worn it in the past. Related to that idea is the idea of working with pendulums and even things like dowsing. Okay, so there are aspects of this psychic ability called psychometry. So you're using a combination of your knowingness, your clairvoyance, and your hand chakras to experience the energy of objects. My favorite way to play with that is go and visit a museum with ancient artifacts, or go visit an ancient site and read the pictures in the ancient artifacts. The Natural History Museum in the UK is really great for that. It's got loads of different things from different eras in history. So anytime you're in a museum like that, it's a cool thing that you can play with. I'd say also the idea of healing and telekinesis, which we talked about last week in the context of the first chakra, because you need to be very grounded, but also you may be channeling energies through your crown chakra to engage in those kinds of activities. So, your crown chakra, your gateway to higher consciousness, through your crown chakra, you can connect with the divine. You can talk to God. You can connect with the divine source. You can connect to the frequencies of all manner of different beings and realities. You could connect with the angelic realm. You could connect with the energies of different galaxies and galactic beings through your crown chakra. So it truly is the gateway to higher consciousness and to experiencing, I guess, not only this reality, but other realities. But bearing in mind the larger part of you already exists in those other realities, whereas this part of you incarnated on Earth for a reason. And through our crown chakra as well, we can connect with the blueprint, the sort of incarnational disc or blueprint for this lifetime. Kind of
I have a comment from, or like actually a question from Katie, who it goes really well with what you're talking about. I'd like to interject with it as opposed to waiting till the third section. She says, I sometimes meditate in bed at night and fall asleep. If I open my crown chakra during meditation and fall asleep, should I be closing it when I wake? Or does it auto adjust during sleep or something?
That's a good question. I mean, we are adjusting our chakras all the time without consciously knowing we're doing it. It's kind of happening. So, for example, if you get afraid, then we have a tendency to open the crown chakra really wide. We don't know, oh, I'm scared, I'm opening my crown chakra really wide. We have a tendency to lose our grounding and open our crown chakra and shut down our third chakra. Or if we are really struggling to find an answer to something, we have a tendency to open the crown chakra really wide without knowing that we're doing it. So it is adjusting automatically, but people get into kind of unconscious energy patterns. So I'm sure you've all met those people that tend to be pretty spaced out all the time because they've permanently got their crown chakra wide open. You've all met people that are, maybe a little bit out of touch with this reality and so on. People who are, ungrounded and a bit, floating around. So on the one hand, we're adjusting our chakras automatically all the time without thinking about it. On the other hand, to be an energy master in this body, in this physical reality, then means that you would have a conscious notion and understanding of what you're doing with your chakras and why you're doing it. So I would just suggest, Katie, developing an awareness of your crown chakra when you wake up, and to go about your very focused daily business where you're focusing on you and your life. I would suggest you don't need it to be open more than about 10 or 20%. I'm happy to go to questions now, Corey. But you're on mute, so.
That's better. I have a couple of comments. Well, Brian was saying that he says, I want to share, because we talked about it a couple of weeks ago about dreams and visitations. I had this dream last week that my mom came to visit me here, and it was so clear and easy to remember that I actually messaged her the next day to see how she was doing. And she right off the bat told me she had been thinking about me for the last few days. Incredible validation. Just wanted to share.
Thank you for sharing. Yes. Great validation.
Yeah, it's interesting how things like that happen, eh, Brian? It's a validation of what you were doing, but it's also a validation of that wonderful power that we all have to tune in like that. And dreaming is, I've had some really weird dreams over the past couple of weeks. It's been just strange stuff. Don't remember many of them, but I wake up in the morning and go, wow, like that was odd. And maybe I need to change my diet. I don't know.
Actually, I'm curious, the people in the chat room, who's felt today was a weird, funky energy day?
we got two so far. We have Carol who says, I'm feeling funky this morning too and felt odd and not myself.
Yes, I think there's something going on with that energy today, because everyone that I've had sessions with today, there's been some weird stuff going on. So we need extra grounding, folks. Yeah. Oh,
definitely. I mean, when, like myself too, today was just one of those weird days. It was just like Lesley and I were sitting there having dinner, and just like both of us were just going, and it's just the energy, just for some reason, the energy seems just so thick. And it's like, I think you explained it like molasses. Hey, Dr. Lesley, trying to go through molasses, even in your mind.
So if in doubt, ground.
Pardon me?
If in doubt, ground, and then ground some more. Yeah, and watch what you're doing with your crown chakra.
Oh, definitely.
So the other thing is, I mean, our crown chakra is, we bring in different cosmic energies through the crown chakra. And, as the energies on the planet are shifting, then we are exposed to different vibrational frequencies that we have to then get used to. And so that transition time where we're adjusting can feel discombobulating.
Yeah, Christine was saying that, me too, so very off. Thought I was getting sick, passed out for a 3-hour nap. And that's exactly how we felt today.
Yeah.
Exactly how we felt today.
Yeah.
Both of us felt like we could just I just said, I'm not doing anything today. I just and like Brian says as well, yes, definitely a strange day. Had to physically slow down. That is really odd, that many people, and it's not just locally, it's like everywhere across the globe.
Yeah, I
globe.
mean, I'm just trying to think who I was speaking to today and where they were located. Actually, I mean, 3 of them were actually local to me, but a couple of people in the United States as well. Yeah. So for those who are listening on the radio, it's the 24th of May that we're recording the radio show. That is the weird day that we are all mentioning and noticing.
Yeah. Brian says, same here, felt off, mostly physical symptoms, but they seem to originate from out of nowhere. And my knowing is it's not of physical origin. The past couple of weeks have been odd.
Yes, and really over the last few years, we've been getting wave after wave after wave, and it's been a big roller coaster ride. And, you know, and one of the things is that as the energy goes up, there's an energy gap between you and where the energy is now adjusted to. And so then you're then, you know, adjusting to the new energy, and then you feel back to normal again, or a semblance of what seems like normal, and then it shifts again. And then there's another vibrational gap between you and now where we are. But this one definitely is pretty, should we say, severe one?
Intense.
Intense, yeah, very intense. And I think the other thing about today, there was loads of, like I was saying this morning, just 2 people with, you know, letting go of beings. And I think that's the other thing that happens as the vibration goes up, and as your vibration goes up, entities or beings that somehow you've had a vibrational agreement with, all of a sudden you don't have a vibrational agreement with them anymore, and it's time for them to leave. Some of them are not happy about that.
Got a few more comments on the subject here.
Sure.
Just clarify it. Got a couple of questions too, but I just wanted to stay with this topic for a minute so we can just jump on it. Where was I here? Okay. Brian says that Tracy says lots of synchronicities in the last week. And Brian, yeah, Brian says, woke up with a headache and felt like some kind of allergies, and I don't have allergies. It fluctuates.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Carol says it fluctuates for me. Carol, he always talking to Carol, because I felt like I could run a marathon, and today the opposite.
Yes.
I don't know about the marathon.
Crawl, not even crawl to the bedroom and go to sleep.
Yeah. So, and Carol said, I felt the opposite, felt so high and distorted energy. I thought it was my hormones this time of the month.
Yeah, distorted energy. It does feel distorted.
Oh, it's just so whacked. It's like, I haven't felt like this.
It feels a little bit like we're being stretched actually as well.
Being stretched?
Yeah, stretched.
How so?
Well, just like I was talking about, having to adjust to a change in energy. You know, the other thing that can happen is when there's something of significance going on the planet, sometimes people tune into that kind of human consciousness, mass consciousness vibration. So when there's disturbances going on, and so I must admit, I don't keep on top of what's happening with Russia and the Ukraine, because I'd rather focus my energy on positive matters. But let's say there were some things stirred up there and lots of people were worried about it, then we're all plugged into that human consciousness grid. Okay, so sometimes it can be that you are just tuning into everyone else.
Well, right now it's time for another break, Dr. Lesley.
Sounds good. Let's go for a break and we will be back to answer questions in a few moments. Welcome back, listeners. You're tuning into Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley.
Is that where we are? Okay.
That's where we are in time, space, reality. And tonight we're talking about the Crown Chakra. And we're talking about what a funky day it is on the 24th of May, 2022. Everyone's feeling a bit discombobulated.
Yeah, everybody is. Well, not everybody, but most of us are. Brian says he's glad to not feel. Yeah, I'm glad to know I'm not alone.
No, you're not alone.
And Misty Fisher says, yeah, I felt crazy hyper.
Yeah, so ground out the energies, stay in your body, because that's the other tendency. It's felt very like trying to pull you out of your body. So extra grounding. So what's the first question tonight, Corey?
Oh, I think we've already had a few. So Carol says, how can you tell the difference between all the angelic realms, spirit guides, ascended masters, or galactic beings through the crown chakra?
Well, you can deliberately adjust the frequency in your crown chakra. So you can adjust it to be a match of to whatever realm or being that you are wanting to communicate with. But I would also say that if a being is communicating with you, they may communicate through a sense of knowing that you just know who this is. Maybe Archangel Michael pops in to give you a hand and you just get a knowing, here's Archangel Michael. Without seeing or hearing, you just know that that's what it is.
Okay, Brian was just saying, yes, plenty of validations, incredible confirmations the last few months. It's like being a kid again with curious intent. Oh, that's nice. It's nice to hear from our people and how they get their day-to-day affected and share it here with us. I really appreciate it.
Another thing that, and again, I haven't checked, but sometimes when there's a volcanic eruption or a big earthquake, that is the Earth's Kundalini energy, and it's very transformative. And that's another thing that can shake us all up. I haven't checked whether we've had anything like that going on today, but that could be another possible explanation.
Yeah, something was definitely going on though, and it was just too weird, a day. Okay, I've just got a little confused here. I lost something. This energy may explain, Tracy says, this energy may explain why I felt the need to do more energetic protection.
Absolutely. I've also been feeling I was running my Kundalini quite intensely last night, and all day today, just clearing and adjusting. So makes sense. I'm just looking to see if there has been an earthquake while we're talking. So what's the next question, Corey?
Okay, next question. Yeah, I think I mentioned that Shelby says she got dizzy today. This is from Susan. It says, I used to see auras when looking at people, but lost it as I grew. So I was thinking of learning that skill again, but I'm currently self-teaching tarot, which is so overwhelming. Should I stick with one thing at a time, or do you believe I can learn auras and tarot at the same time? Or can you see me reading auras in the future, or tarot maybe?
Well, ultimately, it's all the same ability. It's all relating to your clairvoyance. And so a clairvoyance development program would help with both of those skills. In my School of Intuition, I have a pathway to develop your clairvoyance. My Unlock Your Intuition program is very much focused on training you in your clairvoyance. And then I have the next level to that, which is my clairvoyance training program. And then the next level to that is the transmediumship. They're all focused on taking your clairvoyance to the next level and the next level. So I would say that the fundamental skill that you're talking about is opening your clairvoyance. It's not that reading the auras or the reading the tarot cards, that's an application or a use of your clairvoyance. And so what I would suggest is some form of clairvoyance training. And like I mentioned, that is something that I do offer. And you can go to drlesleyphillips.com and you'll see that there's a tab which is called something like psychic training. Just check exactly what it is. Psychic training, and if you hover over that, a whole bunch of courses will drop down. One of them is Unlock Your Intuition, and one of them is the Clairvoyance Training Program. All right.
Hey.
Next question.
Next, Lisa, Lahia said, yes, I felt nauseated yesterday and today. I thought it was COVID, but I took a test and it was negative.
Yes, we were kind of wondering the same thing.
Yeah, we were sitting there going, I wonder if it's COVID. And Lesley looked up and she said, we have a little bit of a rash, and she said, there's a rash, but it's quite whacked, you know. So Carol says, I love the global meditation you did a while back. I was just looking at that today again myself.
Yeah, there's a couple of them on there. Maybe time to do another one, hey?
I think so. Brian's saying, unfortunately, there was a news piece about an incident at a school in Texas today. I can't take any more bad news, so I didn't look into it. It got you there, Brian. Well, but I'm sure I will hear about it soon enough, or something's happened.
There was another one a few days ago, wasn't there? Like that in the States. Yeah.
Legia says there was a blood moon recently. And Susan just added to her comment, she says, I'm currently in a mediumship course. Would clairvoyance training still be needed?
Well, it depends what's in your course, but it depends what they're teaching you in your course. If you want to connect with me privately, Susan, send me an email to info@drlesleyphillips.com. I do free 15-minute consults for people who are seriously considering taking my courses. So we could connect and you could tell me a little bit more about what's in your mediumship course. Because I often find that people think that they're learning the bee's knees and actually there are fundamental things that are missing from their training. So you can feel free to connect with me by email and give me a little bit more information about your mediumship course and what's included. Because depending on your teacher, I mean, people teach what they know. So I can't really comment on that unless I know a bit more information.
Sorry. Tracy says, I want to take your trance mediumship course, but I'm currently taking your MI course. What's MI?
Medical intuition.
Oh, medical intuition. I was wondering if it would be too much to handle taking both courses.
On those two particular courses, yes. My courses vary in intensity. And so some courses you can take simultaneously. So at the moment, for example, I have a lady, she's taking the clairaudience course, and she's also taking the Kundalini course. And that's kind of fine. But the two or three most intensive courses I have is the medical intuition one, the trance mediumship one, and the manifestation one. So kind of see my courses in 3 tiers. It starts with Unlock Your Intuition, which gives you a solid foundation that you need to move forward to any psychic development. And then we've got the Clair courses. So there's one on clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, and clairsentience. That's kind of the next level. There's also a series of Kundalini courses, 1, 2, and 3. And then we've got the more intense, involved courses, medical intuition, trance mediumship, manifestation, and what was the other one I said? Yeah, can't think of it. But yeah, so I mean, I think with medical intuition, that's very intensive. And so I think you're probably good with just that.
And oh, thank you, Dr. Lesley. Misty says, can you help someone adjust their crown chakra if it's too open?
Yes.
And she also wants to know, when's your live course for mediumship? When's your next live mediumship course?
So can you adjust someone else's chakras for them? Yes, I do it all the time. And my next mediumship course, the mediumship course, I don't have a live page on my website right now, actually. So I haven't even set the date for the next one. I'm probably going to start it the beginning of next year. No sooner than the fall. I'll probably wait for this medical intuition course to complete and then start it, because both those courses are pretty long courses.
Well, but also if you just send her, Misty, if you just send Dr. Lesley or myself an email, we'll put you on a waiting list for it.
Yes, that's the best thing. I recently, on my website now, that you can fill in to be on the wait list for all the courses that are on there, which I suggest you do, because when I have enough students on the wait list, I will start the course. And for Unlock Your Intuition, if you register for the course, you get a bonus course that you can start straight away while you're waiting for Unlock Your Intuition to start.
Okay. Thank you, Misty. That was good. This is from Shelby. Shelby says they had war sirens tested in war sirens test in my area. They had them here since we had the Cuban crisis. That was back in the 60s. Wow.
Yes, I got the impression. I was talking to my dad today, and he lives in England, and he seemed quite concerned. And he was, so I guess it must be being reported in the media that things are hotting up in that region. It's interesting.
Yeah. Hey, this is from Carol. Carol says, I can feel my crown chakra buzzing throughout the show. I thought it's the funky energy, but wonder who is knocking on my crown chakra door. Sounds like a 1970s folk song.
Yes. I guess she's asking that as a question. If you're the Carol that's in my medical intuition training, or
Carol Man.
Yes, you are. Well, next live Q&A, ask me about that and I'll teach you a technique to reset your crown chakra. Okay, well, I'll have a quick look. Kind of a bit exhausted from looking at people's beings today, but I'll have a quick look and see.
Well, don't forget to give us a like, folks, and a follow if you're enjoying the show.
It looks like there's an energy that you are clearing. It is an energy. So what I'm seeing is it's like a dark ring around your crown area. And it actually is in the shape of one of those ancient Egyptian crowns with the uraeus, but it's black. And so it feels like you are blasting through some old information. And I think I mentioned this earlier. It's my experience when the vibration goes up, things come out of the woodwork, because now we're needing to go to a higher vibration. So things that could sit within our system quite comfortably no longer can. And so, we let go of agreements with different beings that we've worked with. We let go of different energies that we've been holding in our space. So, I mean, the first thing I'm seeing is that it just looks like you are getting in present time with an old energy and releasing it. And that it's sort of like giving you some temporary discomfort while you're doing that.
We have one more from Brian. Brian says there was something about solar flares a couple of weeks ago, which also affected us, as well as fluctuations in the Earth's Schumann resonance, the Earth's heartbeat. Yes. Then he has a question. He says, can the Kundalini accidentally be awakened and energized, and how would you know?
Yeah, people can have spontaneous Kundalini awakenings, and there are different signs and symptoms of that happening. So sometimes people lose touch with reality as a consequence of a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. So if it happens to someone who's not prepared, so I prepare all my students through meditation to run different energies through their system, so their system gets used to it. So the next time that when they run their Kundalini, the body it's not such a big leap. So one thing can be the feeling that you are losing touch with reality, that it's hard to stay in your body. There can be physical symptoms like rashes, headaches, even things like epilepsy and fits, because the Kundalini is going to try to clear out anything that is out of sync with or out of alignment with your true vibration. So sometimes there are blocks in energy channels in the head. And so, kids who are having things like seizures, sometimes on an energetic level, it's related to the Kundalini. So there's various different symptoms of it happening. And night sweats is another one. All right. So that's it. Thank you for joining. I'm glad you enjoyed the show.
Thank you all. See you next week for part 3 of the deep dive.
Yes, the deep dive, and hopefully we'll be feeling a bit better by then.
More chakras, more chakras. Maybe we need some more sunshine. That's it. Anyway, folks, thank you all so much.